Hi friends, today I'm sharing with you this last video of the year with you, and it is 3 crockpot meals. So you need 3 chicken breasts for this one, and I cut those in half to make them a little thinner, but you also get, instead of 3 chicken breasts, you get 6. So if that makes sense. You also need 2 packs of brown gravy mix, and I like to use the low sodium one because I find it's not as salty. Also, 1 pack of Lipton soup mix, and you will also need 3 cups of water and 8 ounces of sliced Bella mushrooms. This one is super easy to put together. This is kind of like a dump and go recipe that you can make. So to your crock pot, you're going to add your water first, and then I'll add in the gravy packets, and I'm adding 2. Then add in the Lipton soup mix, and you want to make sure that you mix all of it together really well. You want to make sure all of that powder gets dissolved into that liquid. You don't want any lumps in this. So once it gets dissolved, then you're going to add your chicken to the crock pot and just, push it down into the gravy as much as you can, so that way that gets, cooked really well and seasoned. Now, I do add onion powder. I also add garlic powder and some rotisserie chicken seasoning. You can add any type of seasoning you want. You don't have to add any at all. I just feel like this helps to flavor it a little bit more than just the gravy packet and the Lipton onion soup. So once you have that done, you add the mushrooms in as well, and then you're going to cook this on low for 5 to 6 hours or high 3 to 4 hours. And this is what it looks like when it comes out of the crock pot. Really a good meal, and I like that it's just kind of a dump and go sort of meal. You don't have to worry about adding anything else to it. It's all done at once, and it really was delicious. And I just served it with some corn and some mashed potatoes. That's the instant mashed potatoes, the garlic ones, which were really, really delicious. So it went well with this, and like I said, I love mushrooms, so this was really a good recipe and just a simple one. Now this next one is fajitas in the crock pot, and this is something I would sometimes do in like just in a pan, but sometimes you want to just put everything in a crock pot and let it go. So I used some flank steak, and I also had some skirt steak, so that's what I had in my freezer, and that's what I used. You need 2 pounds, and then it called for 2 bell peppers, but I used about 4.5 because I feel like it cooks down so much, and I like to have a lot of peppers on my fajitas. So I used the red, yellow, and green ones. You can use whatever color bell peppers you'd like. That's totally up to you. And like I said, it cooks down, so I like to add a little bit extra. Also, some red onions. You can use regular onions if you like. I just feel like the red onions kind of add a little bit more flavor to it, and I like that in the fajitas. You will also need 20 ounces of salsa. Now, this is a 16-ounce jar that I had, so I just needed a few more ounces, and I had a jar that was open in the refrigerator, so I used what was left in that and added it. I'll add that to this recipe as well. Also, use your favorite fajita seasoning. This one I like. It's Kinder's, and it's a really good one. So that's the one I'm going to use, but you can use any that you like. Add the salsa, and use whatever your favorite is for this. And then add, it says 2 tablespoons of seasoning, fajita seasoning. I ended up using the whole packet because it wasn't that much left, and I felt like I had a little bit more in here than what the recipe called for, other than the meat, but I just went ahead and added the whole pack, which it worked out fine. Then I just mix everything up until you kind of get all of that seasoning and the salsa mixed in, with the meat and the onions and bell peppers. And once you're done, just You're going to cover it, and low would be 6 to 8 hours, and high would be 3 to 4 hours. So just judge, how your crock pot is on how long you want to cook it for. And this is what it looks like when it's done. It does make a lot of juice, so I do kind of, have to drain some of that off. I just put it on some tortillas, and I'll also put on some sour cream. I didn't do that in the video, but I did add some sour cream to this to dip it in. You could also add more salsa to it if you want. Anything you want to add to it, you can. Now this next one is a very super easy crockpot goulash recipe. This one we really enjoyed. You'll need some rotini, about 15 ounces or so. So basically about 5 cups of uncooked pasta. You need some beef broth, some tomato paste, and a can of petite diced tomatoes. For the seasonings, you'll need it's a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of sweet or smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of dry oregano, 1 teaspoon of dry marjoram, 1 teaspoon of dry basil. You will need 1 pound of lean ground beef, so make sure it is lean. You'll also need a tablespoon of minced garlic and 1 large onion chopped. You'll need 4 cups of cheddar cheese shredded. And if you've been with me for a while, I'm going to season my meat with some garlic powder and onion powder. Those are 2 of the seasonings I always usually use in my videos and in my cooking. But I'm going to cook this down until, the ground beef is cooked and the onions are translucent. So once you do that, make sure you drain off any grease that's there, put it in your crock pot, and then your next step will be to add the petite diced tomatoes. Do not drain those, so you want them undrained. And then add in the tomato paste, and you want 6 ounces. Add the beef broth, and you want 4 cups. And if you don't have beef broth, you can also add chicken broth if you'd like. Add in your seasonings and stir that really well. You want to make sure that that gets fully incorporated into that mixture. Then cover this, and you will either cook it on high for 3 to 4 hours or low 5 to 6 hours. Once you have about a half an hour left of cooking, add your uncooked pasta and make sure to stir it well and to get it into the pot, into the liquid, so that way it will, cook your pasta. So make sure you do that the last half hour that you have of cooking. So once it's cooked for about a half an hour, covered on low, so if it was on high, put it on low, turn it off, add your shredded cheese on top, cover it for about 5 to 10 minutes, and let that cheese melt. And once that's done, you have a delicious pot of goulash. And once that cheese melts, you can see all that cheesy goodness on top. Just stir it in, or you scoop it out just as is. But really a delicious meal, and my grandson really loved this. He's 2, and he really did enjoy it. So definitely one kids would enjoy, I think, and we really enjoyed it as well. So a really easy recipe. I just had some green beans on the side. If you want, you can also have garlic bread, something like that if you'd like. So just one of those easy, delicious meals that I think your family would enjoy. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I want to thank y'all so much for supporting me during this year, all my new subscribers, people who have been with me, friends that have been with me since the beginning of my channel. I am grateful for every single one of you. It has been a blessing. This year has been a blessing on YouTube, and I just want to say thank y'all so much for making that happen. And I'm grateful to have you here as part of my YouTube family. I love this community that is growing, and it's all thanks to you. I absolutely appreciate y'all. And I pray that everyone has a very happy, healthy, prosperous, and blessed new year. So I hope that 2025 will be good to everyone And I just pray that y'all have a great year. God bless y'all.